Hello, my name is Jesse Levine. I work with TRC Marketing in Denver, Colorado. We are the manufacturing representatives for RoboCoupe, and we basically cover RoboCoupe in all the Rocky Mountain states, going up from Montana down to Arizona, New Mexico. The machine that I'm going to be discussing today is the R301 Ultra. This is a combination machine, and by combination machine, what I am talking about, it has the ability to both be a mixing bowl, and it also has the vegetable cutting bowl attachment as well. Mixing bowl will be used for your sauces, for grinding nuts, things that you typically see on a mixing bowl, even in the home. And then you also have the vegetable bowl cutting attachment. This is what you would use for your slicing, dicing, julienne cuts, grating, and so on. So this is a fantastic machine for the kitchen. It is a huge labor saver, saves a lot of time, and it's definitely something that should be in every kitchen. So what I'm going to do is I'll first start with the mixing bowl attachment. Very simple to use. I'll take off the bowl here. The bowl will come with an S-blade attachment. For putting the bowl on, everything with RoboCoupe you typically put on at an angle, and then you just lock it into place. Handle will be facing towards the front. S-blade goes on, and then you just turn it until it falls into place. There's actually, on the inside of the S-blade, there is a little flat side, and that will fit accordingly on the shaft. Just twist it, and it'll fall in place, and you're ready to go. It's good to know that if you're doing any liquids, only fill it up at the most 3/4 full. You typically about half is good, but you don't want to fill it up too high because that blade will start spinning too fast, and if that blade goes fast enough and it's a liquid, it can start coming over the edge. Then you have the top of the bowl. You kind of have these little wings that come out. This larger part right here, that's the part that'll go towards the front, and it'll lock into place, and you're ready to go. Now, with this, you have the buttons on the front. Green obviously is go, red stop, and then black is pulse. So I'll turn it on. It's ready to go. Now it's important to know that if you turn this lid open, it automatically turns itself off as a safety feature. Once you put it back on, you would have to hit start again to get it to go. You also have the pulse. Feature for that, which is good for chopping nuts and things like that. Very simple machine, really easy to use. There's also a hole in the top lid, and because of that hole, you can go ahead and, while it's running, pour sauces, vinegars, oils, whatever it may be, without having to turn the machine off. So that is the mixing bowl. Very easy to use. Next part we'll talk about is the cutting bowl attachment. So once again, this is where you're going to do all your slicing, grating, dicing, all of those features. What's a little bit unique about the R301 series is that the dispenser, it shifts out onto the side of the machine. Many of you who have been in a kitchen quite a few times are maybe more familiar with an R2N or an R2 dice, where that would shoot out the back side. This one has a nice little feature by being able to shoot out the side, so you don't have to keep reaching around the machine or so on. It's right there in front of you. There is a sticker on the top of the base of the machine which will show you which way that needs to go. The next part of that is the discharge plate, this piece right here. Very important. This does need to be in there at all times. This is basically what will shoot the produce out into the bowl. Once again, just like the S-blade, there is a flat side which will match up with the shaft. Once again, you can turn it on and put it on and then just rotate it until it falls into place and you're ready to go there. This is the top of the cutting bowl attachment. You have your cylindrical feed, carrots, cucumbers, whatever it may be. And then you also have kind of the half kidney shape pusher feed as well for putting larger tomatoes, potatoes, whatever it may be. Putting this lid on, just put it on, put it into place. Another kind of unique thing about the R301 as well, compared to an R2 dice or an R2N, is that on those machines, the R2 dice and R2N, there is a pin, and that pin would typically be in about this area, and that's a pin that can be broken off if the lid's not done undone properly or some other steps. With this, it's all magnetic, and because it's magnetic, you don't need to worry about any pins breaking. Just turn it, you can actually move the entire thing and take it off. So it's ready to go. Now, with your machine, you should be getting, the following will be included: a 4mm slicing disc and a 2mm grading disc. As well, for the R301 Ultra dice, you have a dicing kit. And that kit consists of 2 discs. You have the 10mm slice, and then you have the 10mm grading dicing disc. So these two work together. You don't want to use a regular slicing blade with the dicing grid. It does need to have this twist top, and I'll show you why here in just a second. So what we're going to do, actually I'll start with a slicing disc. Very, very simple. You have the hole in the bottom, just like all the other ones. Turn, put it on, it's ready to go. And what I have here is I brought in some cucumbers just to give a quick idea of what it can do. For this, I'll go ahead and use the cylindrical feed. And typically just the weight of your hand is all you need to do. You don't need to really push down very hard. And there you go. Nice 4mm slicing disc. We always do say the weight of your hand is perfect because it will give you a nice consistent cut. If you pushed really hard or if you let it go by itself, of course it's going to slice, but some of those slices are not going to be equal. So that's a good way to make sure that that weight ratio works perfectly. So, taking this off, simply just remove. Always be careful. We do recommend that you use cutting gloves. Of course, I'm not wearing cutting gloves, but we recommend you use it. Also have the grading disc. Very good piece disc to use for grating cheese, grating carrots, whatever it may be. So I'll put the lid back on. Once again, just the weight of my hand. That's a 2mm grate. And obviously a big, big time saver. Those are very simple discs to put on. You simply just put it on and you're ready to go. With the dicing grid attachment, there is a little bit different process to it, but it is very, very simple. What you'll see on your dicing grid is there are 2 different positions. So you can see on here, on the top of the machine, you have your kidney shape, which is position number 1, and you have your cylindrical pusher feed. This is position number 2. It actually will show you, you might not be able to see it well on the camera, but there are 2 kind of images here showing how to place this grid based on that. So what we're going to do, we're going to put in position number 2, so we can use a cylindrical feed. And put it into place. Put on, almost forgot a part. Got the dicing grid. Now this is an important part. Once again, just turn it until it falls into place. Ready to go. Now, with this thumb screw, you just turn it. It'll be about 15 times or so. And you'll know when it's kind of getting tight, the whole entire disc will start to move. Mine just started to move, so then I just do about another half turn. You don't want to tighten it too much. If you really kept tightening it, it can strip the threads on the inside. And if you didn't tighten it enough, if you just put it on and turn it a couple times, that blade can move around, and you don't want that because that can cause some damage to the bottom of this. Okay, so for the dicing part of the demonstration, we cleaned out the bowl because we want to give you a better visual of how well it cuts a dice. Also, I rotated the dicing grid to position 1, and by doing position 1, that means it will be using this continuous feed pusher right here. So this has once again been tightened nice, but not over tightened. Locked into place, ready to go. And obviously, from what I showed you earlier, the kind of kidney shaped feed portion of this, it is obviously bigger than the cylindrical feed, but you still will probably have to cut down some of your produce to fit into that size. So, placing it in there on its side. And now, with just the weight of my hand, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Or not. So, that will end up giving you a very, very quick dice. And as you can imagine, any of you who are in the kitchen dicing vegetables, how long that would take. Very, very nice 10mm dice right there. So just to show that to you again, and also to show another feature, is on this, there's a continuous feed connection. This is on, open it, that magnet connection, there's a magnet in here. When that magnet gets disconnected, it turns itself off, and then it turns itself back on again. So, once again, the dicing grid has position 1, it has position 2. Position 1 is for the kidney shaped feed, position number 2 is for the cylindrical feed. Just to show you again. This time, I'm going to actually look at the buttons. There you are. So, a big, big time saver, a really durable, strong, hefty machine with some really nice benefits that will be very helpful in the kitchen. It is also important to know that if for some reason, let's say you're grating cheese, and after a period of time the machine is not working, you're making sure all the top is connected, everything is connected and working correctly, there is, on the side of the machine, a reset button. That button is down here. It is important to know it's not spring-loaded, so you're not going to feel any pushback. It's just touching a metal connector down there, and that will reset the machine, and you should be good to go from there. So, typically, the only times you'll ever really see that happening is, let's say you're grating cheese. Your cheese should always be really, really cold, almost out of the freezer. If you are putting in warm cheese, it can gum up, start causing a lot of kind of restrictions on what you're trying to do, and that could possibly cause that reset to go off. So that's all you'll need to do for touching that. Now, another important thing to know is when taking out the dicing grid, It won't, as you're turning this and loosening that top blade, it doesn't fall off to let you know that it's actually off. About 15 times or so, and then you just lift up. If you're lifting up and it won't come off, just keep loosening it up a little bit more. When you're done with the dicing grid, it's important to know too that you are going to have leftover produce in there. That will, and you can do cases and cases and cases of produce, but you're still going to have something left at the very end because there's nothing there to push it out. So for pushing it out, getting it out, typically a nice like power wash in the sink will get most of it out. However, it very well might not get everything out. So because of that, RoboCoupe does offer this. There's a dicing grid cleaner, so it actually lines up with the size of the disc that you're using, and it'll push that out. And you can actually just place it straight into the bowl. Now when you're doing that, so whether it's this tool, this really helpful tool, or if you're using some other kind of tool, you want to make sure that you are pushing it out on the dull side. You do not want to use the sharp side because that will end up damaging the blades. So make sure you're doing it only on the dull side, and get it out as soon as possible, especially if you're doing carrots or potatoes, because those will expand as they dry, and it's very difficult to get those out. So that is the RoboCoupe R301 Ultra Dice. You got a great machine, and hope you enjoy it.